All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another opening bell live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and record these from now on. And then once I'm finished, I'm going to go ahead and upload them over to YouTube so that everybody that wasn't able to join because of prior obligations, work, kids, whatever your situation is, you can still get caught up with me on the markets in the morning, even if, you're watching it an hour or two later. Okay. We're not all in the same time zone. I recognize that. So it makes more sense to just be recording these and uploading them. So with all that said, let's go ahead and hop right over into the charts. I want to go over basically what I do every morning. We're going to take a look at some legacy stuff. We're going to take a look at metrics. We're going to take a look at on-chain data, high timeframes, liquidation levels, the whole 9 yards. And do it relatively quickly. I want to keep these videos, especially if I'm recording them, to about maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, just so that they're quicker to upload for you guys. So let's go ahead and get right into it, okay? So let's see here. Boop. Boop. All right, let me move my microphone. And by the way, guys, I'm not going to be editing any of these videos, okay? These are just going to be one-off shot videos or whatever, one take, no redos, no edits or anything like that, just kind of exactly like how I do the live streams, okay? So, things happen when you're live. Anyway, so taking a look here on the economic calendar, not really too much going on today. However, we do have the housing price index month over month coming out today, which is going to be kind of a big deal. There's a lot of mixed feelings and mixed emotions about the actual current state of the housing market. So that's going to be something that I'm going to be watching very closely. That's actually coming out. It looks like those numbers already came out. So whatever price movements that the legacy markets are making currently, that's probably already priced in. Those numbers came out right at 9 o'clock. So the price action is already taking place on the pre-market side. Okay. So, and we will take a look at the legacy markets here in just a minute. But for the rest of the week, kind of a slow week here, not really too much going on. We've got pending home sales coming in tomorrow. Not really too big of a deal right there. The only other things that are noteworthy that are coming in is on Thursday. We have the jobless claims for December as well, and the 4-week average coming out on Thursday as well for the entire month of December. Okay, so those are probably the two biggest legacy metrics that I'm going to be watching closely this week. Normally, those kinds of numbers, especially with the housing market, like I said, the mixed feelings there, as well as the jobless claims, that has to do a lot with the economy. If people aren't working, they don't have money to be buying stocks and Bitcoin, right? So those are kind of important numbers to know. Again, you guys know this mostly affects Forex markets a little more than crypto and digital assets. However, these numbers do affect legacy markets. And since Bitcoin is listed in the legacy markets as futures and ETFs now, that is going to somewhat affect the price, but not as drastically as it would the Forex market. So let's go ahead. We're finished with that. Let's take a look at coinglass.com. Again, all of these links are in the important links section in the Discord. All of these things are available either for free or for a small charge. If you guys do use any of the ref links, that supports me, that supports the YouTube channel. I reinvest all that money into equipment and, basically use that to pay for the services and stuff. So I highly recommend using these. Again, I use these every day. It's not a shill. It's just something that can give you a slightly better edge over people that are phone charting and stuff. Okay. Which, by the way, is the majority of people. Anyway, so let's take a look at our funding rates first and just kind of get an idea of what's going on here. It looks like we have OKEX that's flipping negative right now. Bybit is flat. FTX, let's look at FTX. FTX is slightly positive at the moment. Okay. So this is basically the same. Gate.io is crap. Binance isn't showing, but I'm assuming that it's probably positive now. And the other exchanges, OKEX over here on the token margin, looks like it's flipping or starting to flip positive here as well. So that's actually kind of good. That means that the price action is kind of probably leveling off here. I haven't really looked at the chart yet, but we'll go ahead and dig into that in just a second here. So let's take a look at our liquidations. It looks like it's actually kind of moderate for today. It's not on the low side, but it's not on the high side either. This is kind of average. tells me that price action is flat. It's not up in the 600, 700, 800 millions. It's also not super, super low, like 50 or, 150 million. So right in the middle here, this is pretty expected for flat price action when the price is consolidating after a major move. So that is pretty much expected there. So let's take a look at our longs versus shorts. First, we'll take a look at the last 12 hours, and it looks like most exchanges in the last 12 hours were actually short. Okay, net short. So in the last 12 hours, it looks like some of these exchanges actually flipped Deribit, flipped long here. Most of the exchanges have either remained even or mostly short. In the most recent price action of the last 4 hours, in our most recent 4-hour open, it's looking like, again, most of the exchanges are either flipping back long or they're flat at the moment. I don't know what these two are. Bitfinex is probably the most important one here. That's starting to flip long. Kraken is long. Deribit is long. FTX is long. So most of the major exchanges, including Bybit, are long. And then BitMEX, Binance, and Huobi and OKEX are still net short in the last 4 hours. So the most recent price action, not too much has changed there. We've got Deribit and Kraken still long. Bitfinex is flat, and BitMEX in the last hour, and Binance is flat, and BitMEX is actually flipping long as well. So that's actually kind of good. That shows confidence that there's some buyers down here. People are looking to be accumulating, and that means possible market makers are looking to be accumulating as well. So that is a good thing. Okay. Especially if we're looking at finding support, right? That's pretty much it for this. I'm not going to get into the order book. You guys can see the global order books here for the derivatives exchanges on the right side of my screen. I leave this up all the time. Again, link is up there in the important links section. So make sure that you check this out. If you need it on the fly and you don't want to minimize the video that you're watching, you can go to https://aggr.trade. So, or actually, I think it's v3.aggr.trade. So AGGR, that's just an acronym for aggregated. It's aggregating all of the data across all of the global derivatives digital exchange markets. Okay, so that's what that stands for. V3 is just the new version of it. Again, this is a GitHub project. It's open source, and many people have modified this on websites and stuff like that. But anyway, I keep this up all day long, normally just the liquidations as well as the big buys and sells. Okay. So that's pretty much it for that. Let's take a look at our dark order books and our open interest on BitMEX and see if anything has really changed here, catches my eye. It looks like we did have one really big buy yesterday, almost 5 million. So that's probably the biggest buy that I've seen in quite some time. Most of the other ones have only been 5 or 6 or in the low 6 figures, like this 160, 55,000, nothing. This was a major 7 million sell on the day before Christmas, right at 51K. It looks like this person actually caught the top. So kudos to that whale. If that whale is watching this, you need to hit me up. Anyway, that's pretty much all that's happening there. Obviously, price is coming down. Open interest is going down. Okay, so this is going to be important if we take a look at our volume. Let me actually bring up a volume indicator here real quick. Let's look at our volume. Let's just bring up the oscillator. Oh, it's not going to do the oscillator here on BitMEX, is it? No, probably not. I don't think that this is actually going to show it on. Yeah, no, it's not going to show it here. So I'll actually have to take a look at that on one of my other charts. However, for right now, we do have the price action moving down. We also have the open interest moving down as well. So we're going to see what's going to happen here on Legacy Market Open. The market's only been open for about 5 or 6 minutes. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the charts right after we move from here and take a look at our heat maps and liquidation levels. So let's move over here onto Trading Light. Again, all of these links are up in the important links section. I use this service almost every single day, and it looks like we've got people bidding down here. Okay, so we do have all of these bright colors and stuff that you see on this. I'm not really going to go into how to use this right now. I do have a YouTube video on Trading Light and how to use it, what it means, what all of this stuff means, explaining the platform, how to use it, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you go check out that Trading Light tutorial. It's a little older. I might have to update that soon, but in general, it's a pretty good base of knowledge for understanding how the platform works and what all of this exactly means. But at the end of the day, we do have some limit bids down here. It looks like on the 15-minute chart, it looks like we might have a little bit of support here. It's really going to depend how aggressive the sellers want to be here and if they want to just fill all these orders and start moving down to this next level right at about 48,600. So I personally am assuming that this is probably going to be our bottom. And then that's probably where we're going to end up reversing here, is at this really thick bidding down here. It looks like there's a total of about 145 Bitcoin here, at least on Binance futures, that is waiting to be filled in the mid 48,000. So that's pretty much where we stand there. We do have very, very thick asking up here. So lots of just major sell walls up here, especially this one, 245 Bitcoin on Binance futures for that one. 100, 180, 109, 110. So quite a bit up here. And it looks like most of that is stacked right up here at about 49, in the 49,000 range. So the mid 49,000. So we might be bouncing around in like $1,000 or $1,500 range for quite some time, but we're going to have to see how the price action plays out through the rest of the day. Let's switch over to our liquidation charts real quick and first take a look at BitMEX. So it looks like we do have some 50x shorts just above us. Our open interest has slowly been just kind of moving sideways for the most part. We did have a blow off top here as represented by our open interest really shooting up, at the end of this move here. Okay, so that's pretty much what's happening now. And it looks like we do have some confluence here with 48K with where our long liquidations stop just before there's like a really major gap until about 47,200. Now, if we do break below this low after filling these down at 48K, I would suspect that we would probably end up moving down lower to about the $47,000 region to be sweeping these as well. So it looks like we're getting a lot of action on the order books right now. There's a major sell-off happening, and most of that looks like it's coming in on Binance. Look at all of these orders, guys, coming in 156 sell. Look at all of these huge numbers, big sells and buys filling at the same time here. It looks like that was a major wick for right now that just filled all of those buy orders. So we'll see if the bears can power through here and keep forcing this to the downside or not. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of hopeful that most of those bids just pretty much just ended up getting filled. And now we'll start seeing some kind of a bounce or reversal. So we'll have to kind of watch this very closely. But all in all, lots of good price action this morning. That means that there's it's going to be a good volume and a pretty good day for volatility. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this. And it looks like we did sweep just right now. We swept this first 50x short right here. We'll probably end up coming down to that 48,150 level to take these out before a bounce. So I would expect maybe a little bit more downside today to be putting in possibly a double bottom right at 48K. And then we'll probably see some kind of relief here later on in the afternoon. This looks like kind of a morning sweep on the opening of the legacy markets. Again, we're going to take a look at that chart here in just a second. But first, let's look at our Binance liquidations. Okay, so let's take a look at that first. We'll go ahead and refresh this real fast. Okay, and for right now, I know that this does have a little bit of a delay here. So let's kind of see where our price action at 48,800, but we wicked all the way down to our previous median line at about 48,300. Okay, so 48.3 is basically here. Okay, so that makes sense. So we swept all of our 50 and 100x shorts down to about 58.3, and now just below that we only have a couple 50x and mostly 25x liquidations down here, and it looks like the price is possibly trying to bounce right now. So that makes complete sense to me. Once this updates, we'll come back to this in just a minute. This is like a minute or two behind or so. So it's not immediate yet. That is something that High Block Capital is working on, is getting this to update not only automatically, but have it be real time as well. That's something that they've been trying to do very desperately for these liquidation charts, because it's very important. And they know that people like me use this constantly throughout the day, especially while I'm trading, scalping, or what have you, to be using it to do stop placement, or, put my entries where other big liquidations are so I can get a better entry and things like that. So they are working on that, if you guys were interested. Anyway, again, link is up in the important links up in the Discord. So let's go ahead and take a look at my algo. It looks like my algo here is still holding short. This is the V2 version, which is basically the higher risk, higher reward version. This is the back test for the last year. You can see here 60% profitable after a year, 6,700.5%, under 21% drawdown, 2-to-1 profit factor. So very, very good there. Average trade about 27% still. So very good there. It does look like we're getting some very, very strong kind of a bounce here. There's definitely buyers down here. This wick filled very, very quickly. And for the most part, this was pretty low bearish volume here. So that's pretty much what the higher risk, higher reward algo is doing. Let's go ahead and take a look at let's go ahead and hide this, and we'll take a look at the V3. Now this V3 is looking like it's just flat still. So it didn't short here, but all of the longs that it took both here and here, it averaged out here and here, and it has not gone short. It's just holding flat, which is also a good strategy. That this is more of a longer term, low risk, lower reward kind of strategy for those that want to be using the algo once it's released with larger amounts of money. Okay, so let me show you those results for that. Again, 1 year back test starting with $10,000. This one is at $40,000 for the year, 390, almost 400% profit, over 50% profitable, over almost a 2.2% profit factor. But the drawdown, this is what makes this strategy so good, in my opinion, is the drawdown is under 15% for a year. Now, that's not just like an average. That's like combined of, well, it technically is an average. That takes all of the average losses and combines them. And that's the average of the max drawdown of all of the trades, all 93 trades placed throughout the year. And the drawdown has been under 13%. So very, very good there. However, you're also looking at an average trade of only about 4.5%. So it is a lot lower. However, the drawdown is a lot lower as well. Okay, so it's a lot more of a conservative strategy for those that may want to be using this with higher dollar value, bigger bankrolls, and things like that. That way they're not experiencing like massive drawdown. So they don't really have to worry too much about hedging and managing their money in different ways. Okay, so just a thought. Anyway, just note on the algos, those are going to be released either later this week or early next week, probably after the new year. It's the holidays, so it's going to be a little crazy over here on my end. But in general, I am looking at releasing this publicly within the next 2 weeks. I will keep you updated on that in the Discord. Again, this video is going to be public on YouTube after I record it. So if you're interested in joining the YouTube or you want more information about these algos that I'm going to be releasing soon, make sure that you check the links in the description below, and you can join the free side of the Discord or the premium side as well if you want to follow my trades. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of our order block levels. Okay, so this is a free indicator here, Spaceman BTC levels. So kudos to you for providing this fantastic free key level indicator. I really appreciate it. Anyway, so it looks like we had a very, very strong sweep here of our previous monthly low. This is really nice. When I first woke up this morning, we were kind of bouncing around here, and I saw this and I said, man, we already swept so many of these levels, like we swept our naked point of control from 3 days ago here. We swept our weekly open. And then the only other level that was down here to sweep was our previous monthly low. The only other really deep level that we have is a naked point of control down here at 56.5, and then a previous weekly low. This is previous monthly low, previous weekly low down here at 55.5. I don't think that we're going to be sweeping those immediately. However, it is possible that we get one more leg down after this. just one real quick sweep. However, I think that we probably see some relief before that and start seeing some kind of mean reversion to be coming up here, sweeping the weekly open and or, the previous daily low and daily open and stuff like that, and start seeing some mean reversion to the top side here. But time will tell as we move on later throughout the day. I'll be monitoring this, most likely monitoring the volume on the lower timeframes like this, like on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our actual standard layout here and kind of see what we have going on. Okay, so it looks like we had our initial breakout of this big wedge. Okay, we had this breakout and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the top side. And now it looks like we're seeing some correction here. Okay, so if we take our indicators off the chart and just kind of break this down, we can see that if we do a little bit of measuring here, it looks like we perfectly swept our 0.5 and we landed just in between our 0.5 and 618, almost exactly halfway in between. That is a very, very, very typical spot for Bitcoin to land in. People like to front run the golden pocket, especially market makers, because they know that people's algos are targeting those mathematical fib levels. Okay, so I would like to see some kind of hourly or 4-hour close above this 382 mark, right at about 49,500. This is going to be a very key level for Bitcoin to be reclaiming today. If we do not reclaim 49.5 at some point today, or preferably 50K, I would suggest that we probably would expect more downside to be filling in this golden pocket before we see any kind of substantial bounce here. And that would end up being, some kind of a three wave down. Okay, so that would hit our golden pocket here. So if we're bottoming here and we're actually going to be putting in a pivot point, where would I expect our top side to be, right? So if we measure this entire thing and then project it, excuse me, let me get some water. My wife has been sick and I've been trying desperately not to catch the flu. Anyway, if we take this correction to the top side here and then project it against this smaller downside move that we're experiencing over the last, yesterday and this afternoon, basically what we can gather from this is the 382 of the overall trend to the top side is right at almost 51,000. Okay, so 50,800 is a very key level. What I like about this setup is that our golden pocket is above our previous high. Okay, so that's very, very important to note. Normally, you will see a continued downtrend without a relatively strong pivot like this. If you come really deep, really quick, and then your golden pocket lines up with the previous high, or is below it, normally that means that you're going to be in the mode of shorting bounces. Now, obviously, we need more confirmation if this is going to be a pivot point. I would never surmise that just off of one single candle. We're going to have to take a look at that volume on the lower time frames. We're going to have to look for mean reversion, on our order book strategy and volume strategy. So right now, I think that this is a relatively decent bounce on this wick. But again, I really want to see some follow through here on the next 1 hour candle. This current candle closes in about 10 minutes. Okay, so for right now, it is good that the golden pocket is above our previous high, because that means that overall, if this is in fact a reversal and we're looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, and this is our 2 here, we would be looking at some kind of extended 3 that's coming up into here to the 272 to 141, the 1414 area, which is actually a pretty decent historical level. So let me take this off the screen real quick. All these little drawings and stuff. And it looks like that's in between the 0.1. This is almost right at the 6. Okay, so this would be our overall top range here at about 58. And then it looks like that median line is right in between the 1414 and the 272. So this would probably be the key level here that I'm looking at, which is right around 57,200. So that would be my wave 3, my overall wave 3, top side swing target. Okay, so just to clarify what that means, that's not a scalping target. It's going to take days or weeks to get there. We'll probably chop around for a little bit. We're going to be battling with these immediate levels of resistance here. But overall, pretty strong and significant bounce here. We did get a really nice sweep of liquidity down to 48.3, washed out some late shorts and or some late longs, excuse me, or some early longs rather. I'm all backwards this morning. And so now we're looking for topside, or at least I would be looking for topside here. These are the kind of moves that I try to average in on, those big scary red candles. But let's take a look at our indicators, right? So if we take all this stuff off the screen and we just look at our indicators and our price action, we can see that we've got this downtrend. And I mentioned earlier that we're seeing price movement to the downside, but we're also seeing decreased bearish volume, which means that the bears are getting a little exhausted here. They move the price down so quickly and so rapidly that they're just getting exhausted, right? They kind of overextended themselves in terms of the liquidity that they have to be providing and the supply that they have to the market, right? So we're also seeing now, if we make our RSI up here bigger, again, I only really use the RSI as an indication of where the trend may be heading on the 1 hour and above. Okay, that's why it's on this chart setup, because I use this for mainly 1 hour plus charting. This is completely different. This is not an RSI. This is the SMI. Okay, well, actually the SMI oscillator. Okay, so I'll probably make a tutorial on that. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like a tutorial on the SMI oscillator, okay? Anyway, heading back over here, we can see that we are getting some divergence here. We're getting the RSI climbing back into neutral territory here as we're making lower lows in price action. So that's actually kind of a good thing. And, you know, overall, we would be expecting price to continue bouncing at some point, or just seeing some kind of relief. Now, for our immediate price action, when I say relief or expecting more topside, we need to see a hourly close above that 49,375 to 49.5-ish level. Okay, so in here, those are going to be the key levels that we need to be closing above, which is a pretty major level of resistance here. Okay, so if you just draw a line from your pivot point to the downside, that's right here, 49.4. Okay, so in between 49.3, 49.5. Bitcoin is a 5-figure asset right now. It's pointless to be kind of arguing over, you know, $100 worth of price. It makes no difference. Back in 2018, it made a huge difference. Now, not so much. Excuse me. Anyway, so our other indicators, for the most part, I mean, they are still bearish, obviously, right now. Obviously, our RSI is below our 44 mark, and we do have our MACD. It looks like it's coming in and curling over for a bearish cross in bearish territory, but that's mostly due to this major downside move that we just had. This major, huge, volatile candle that we're experiencing right now is the main reason why this is curling over. So we're going to have to wait over the next couple of hours or so, probably until about midday, to see how this price action and this volatility resolves itself. So let's come down to a 15-minute chart and we'll take a look at let's take this off the screen. Well, actually, let's look at the volume here on the 15-minute chart, along with our points of control. I want to see. Okay, so this is a perfect explanation, and I'm actually going to be recording a tutorial today on points of control, naked points of control, etc., because this is very important. Now, if you notice here, this naked point of control has been here since the 22nd, since before Christmas, okay, last week. This has been here, sitting here. Points of control are very similar in the way that gaps on the CME chart work, okay? So everyone says, oh, the gaps get filled, the gaps get filled. The gaps don't always get filled. However, I have noticed that in terms of a mean reversion scenario, the points of control have a way higher likelihood of getting filled than gaps in the CME. Now, that's not to discredit the whole gap analysis thing. Okay, I know that a lot of people think that that's a meme. It's really not, though. When you've got a lot of volatile price action, there is a solid chance if that gap is, within reasonable range of the current price action, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to end up filling. That's the same exact way that these points of control end up getting filled. Okay, so there's a point of control, there's a naked point of control. The only difference is that the naked points of control are the ones that are for the week or month or whatever that just have not gotten tapped yet. Okay, since they were formed. So this was one that once we broke above it, it never got tapped again. So this was our naked point of control until literally this wick that we just saw form live on that dip, and it got tapped almost to the tick here. Okay, there was only about maybe a $50 difference here, 50 or 25 bucks, and it swept it. Okay, so now what we're looking for on this 15-minute chart is we're looking to form some kind of another bullish engulfing candle, and we want to see a continued increase in this bullish momentum here. So overall, looking at this volume and the price action, what this looks like to me is from this point here and forward, okay, we had a very strong decrease in bearish volume and an increase in bullish volume. Okay, this is very important. That means that this area is serving as a level of reaccumulation. Okay, that is bullish until it's not. And what I mean by that is it's bullish until we start seeing levels like this and here. Okay, getting closed, but specifically this one. Okay, this was the low for the candle closes of this reaccumulation range thus far. If we start seeing closes below this, that's when we would probably start seeing another leg down. Now, the good news is that on this 15-minute candle that only has a minute left, we are looking like we're going to close a bullish engulfing candle. That is a good thing because most traders and scalpers, they're just getting started for the day. It's only about 10 o'clock, and this is going to be something that they're looking for, a very strong buyback followed by a bullish engulfing candle with pretty decent volume. On the 5-minute chart, the volume looks like it is increasing here. We've got really nice bullish candles to the top side, but we do have some areas of resistance above us that we must be closing above. Specifically, these 3 key levels that are very clustered and very, very tight together. Again, that's between 47.3 and 47.5. Okay, so lots of good confluence there. However, when you've got good confluence for a resistance zone, that normally means that if you're biased bearish, you should probably be shorting that zone instead of longing into it. The long was all through here on this bottom or this wick that just occurred. That was the long scalp. Now, if you're kind of long biased for the new year like I am, I'm actually currently building a long position down here in this region, and I'm attempting to build a long as close to 48K as I possibly can. The analysis that I have conducted over this last week after the holiday has basically led me to the conclusion that basically all of the demand is at prices under 50K. Nobody wants Bitcoin above 50K right now. And this is very obvious in our daily chart. Okay, so if we come up to these higher timeframes here, we can see this. Okay, every single time that the price has gotten above this 50K region, we've or close to it, we've rejected. Okay, between 50 and 55K, we always end up rejecting. We rejected here for a retracement. We had our next move up followed by a blow off. And then once we started retracing, we've had this long, slow, grindy retracement here, followed by this first initial bounce. So in my opinion, for this first bounce that we ended up getting here on this daily chart, this is pretty normal price action. Okay, if we zoom in here to the most recent week's price action and we take a look at this, we've simply just retested this level. Okay, that's it. Perfectly. We retested this just now, actually, that we literally watched that on the screen while I was charting this. That huge volatile action when we got that big pin bar on the 1 hour. So that's literally what retested this wick right here. Personally, that leads me to think that the low is probably in for the day here. Okay, so hopefully this analysis reaches you well. I hope that you can take this, kind of use this for the day. Luckily, this morning's stream was actually a really good one. We got to see some really nice volatile action right at the beginning of the market. That's why I like doing these streams right at the beginning of the day. Normally there's a lot of price action, either, like a Monday gap up, or an early gap up in the morning, or some kind of morning sweep like we just saw, to sweep some liquidity for early longers to the downside and sweep them out of the market. And that's exactly what we got this morning. So I'm very impressed with this price action. I really like that we tapped our naked point of control, as well as this very, very important daily level right at 48,300. So it's looking pretty good for me. If we come down to this 4-hour chart, let's kind of see how our candles are shaping up here on the 4-hour. This is going to be very important. And it's looking like we've got a lot of demand here. So over this last hourly candle, for this 4-hour session, I would really like to see here this current candle with this huge wick to the downside here. I would really like to see the bulls fight to turn this candle green. If we can put in a bullish engulfing bullish hammer, that would be like the prime. Yes, this is probably where you're going to want to see if you can enter into a long. In terms of swing positions, you'd probably want an entry somewhere in here, put your ladders here, and then have a stop below here. Again, I already did my fib pull for you guys, my overall targets. You guys already know where these would be. So just to kind of give you a sense of, if you were looking to swing this trade, you could even put your stop below here, because at the end of the day, you'd be targeting this. Okay, so that's 4-to-1 on the very high time frame. That is a pretty decent spot trade setup. Now, however, if this is our actual pivot point and we're coming for our next big leg to the top side, you would be looking at the my secondary targets up here for the overall. You'd be looking at almost a 9-to-1 trade. So very, very decent setup with a very, very clear level of invalidation here. Obviously, if we make closes below this level, the trend will have been broken and we would be expecting new lows. Okay, so keep this level in mind on the daily and the 4-hour chart. This level at 48K is extremely important. We do not want to be seeing closes below 48K. That will invalidate this uptrend. That would make this just a relief rally, and I would be expecting further downside before the new year, or just after the new year. All right. Am I still recording? Yeah, I'm still recording. That's it for today, guys. Again, I really appreciate you being with me. I'm going to go ahead and get this video uploaded to you as soon as possible, and we'll post the link in all of the Discords that I'm in. Obviously, including my own, I will have a link for this. So again, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Make sure that you check out all those links in the description below for all the tools that I use that are in this live stream. I use these every single day. No, it's not a sponsored video. These are products that I know, that I use, that I pay for myself, and that I trust. I highly recommend using them so that you can also get an edge on the market as I have using them. So with all that said, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.